What are your big concerns for today, and what are you doing to prepare?
Well, we've been preparing for months, and I'm not concerned at all. We've got a plan. We're prepared to make sure that every legal eligible vote is cast and counted. And we're trying to just, frankly, ignore the noise and focus on protecting our democracy and making sure that all Pennsylvanians who want to participate in this process can, and that the will of the people is ultimately reflected and respected at the end of the night.
You've already been to court against the president's team multiple times in the past and won. Does it give you confidence that you can handle whatever they might throw at you in the next few days?
Oh, sure. Look, the president has spent months leading up to this election, he and his enablers, suing us here in Pennsylvania to make it harder for people to vote, to eliminate drop boxes, to have less time for people to vote, to have less time for the counting to occur, to disqualify certain ballots, to make it easier to truck so-called poll watchers in from out of county into certain communities across Pennsylvania, particularly our black and brown communities, to try and intimidate voters. Look, this president has taken us to court 6 times. Every single time he's gone to court, he's lost. We've won. We've protected people's votes. And now, as you're seeing from these lines from Aliquippa to Philadelphia, people are lined up, they're ready to go, and they're making sure that their voice is heard in our democracy. And what I can assure people here in Pennsylvania is no matter what the president says, no matter what he tweets, these ballots will be counted and the will of the people will be respected here in Pennsylvania.
Well, to that very point, you tweeted over the weekend that when all the votes are added up, President Trump is going to lose. Does that undermine your message that you're going to count every vote and let the chips fall where they may when you're determining the outcome via Twitter?
Yeah, no, not at all. And I'm not determining any outcome. And I've said dozens of times that we are going to count all legal eligible votes and that the will of the people is going to be respected. If you go on and read that tweet, what I also made clear and what has been proven is that this president is working overtime to try and subtract votes from the equation. A candidate only does that when they know that based on polling, just based on the political moment that we're in, that they're running from behind. And the idea that we have a sitting president of the United States who is working to delegitimize our election, to stoke doubt in our process, and to literally go to court to try and eliminate eligible votes. That's the story here. That's the challenge that we've been dealing with. The good news is for the people of Pennsylvania, we've won every time in order to secure and protect their vote. They're clearly showing up to vote. We will count all those votes. And you need to know, as the Attorney General of Pennsylvania, we will respect the will of the people no matter who they choose.
Can I ask what the president and his team's rationale has been? Given that this state carried him last time, he flipped this state, wouldn't he want every vote counted?
Look, I can't get into the head of this president. Who the hell knows what he's thinking half the time? But what is clear from the record is they've gone to court and they've alleged fraud and couldn't prove it in court and cases were dismissed. They've gone to court and they've alleged all kinds of things that ultimately they were never able to prove, and judges dismissed their cases. They have gone to court to try and silence the voices here in Pennsylvania. And I've made clear that we are going to listen to the people of Pennsylvania.
Realistically, when do you think we're going to get the results? And are you worried about any unrest in this city and state when we do?
So that's 2 questions. Let me hit them both. I think by the early morning hours of Wednesday, you will have the precinct totals, nearly 100% of them, if sort of history is what occurs here as well. In addition to that, you're going to have a very good sense of the mail-in ballots, what's been counted and what's outstanding. And I think you'll begin to get a picture. Certainly, we're not going to have a full and complete count until later in the week. But the point here is that the law requires all ballots to be counted. And we are in the process of, or will be in the process of making sure that that's done and protecting that from any attacks that come. As it relates to violence, look, there is a high cost to this president's rhetoric. Now, his rhetoric hasn't given him any wins in court, and his rhetoric has been fact-checked by you and others in the media time and time again who have found him to be lying. But his rhetoric about violence is really dangerous. He either, directly gives aid and comfort to these hate groups that want to try and create disturbances in our communities, or allows his words to be misappropriated by people who want to do harm to others in our community. The fact that we have a sitting president of the United States doing that is really scary and dangerous. Now, what I do see in Pennsylvania, and I think what you're seeing in Philadelphia today, is that the people seem to be tuning that out and drowning it out and showing up and voting and doing their job to participate in our democracy. That's how it works. Drown out the noise, show up and vote, and your vote will be counted.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.